Howdy, Legendary Void here, and today we're doing a deck take on a deck that I had a lot of fun with playing the other day, Omega Supreme, with Jazz. We're going to be talking about the exact deck list that I played with. But yeah, so let's start going over it. So Omega Supreme has this awesome kind of pick or choose ability in his alt mode. He's got 4 attack, 24 health, and 2 defense. He is a Guardian, Spaceship, Tank, and Range, which makes him open to being played with Warpath and Hunker Down, which I might test in the future. But he also has the effect that when you flip to his alt mode, you can choose to either draw a card or do 1 damage to an enemy. Now this is one of the main things you're going to be wanting to do in this deck, so flip to this mode, deal 1 damage to an enemy. So we have a lot of cards to be able to make him flip. And his bot mode, you're also going to be able to use this effect in conjunction with Jazz. He's got 7 attack, 24 health, and 1 defense. He is ranged Guardian. It's unfortunate there's no Guardian support, but maybe in the future eventually. I don't know. But his effect is if one of your characters would take 2 or more damage, instead you may have this take 2 and the other character take the rest. So that works perfectly with Jazz's alt mode effect, which he will be staying in the entire game. 3 attack, 10 health, 0 defense. When this defends against an enemy that does not have Pierce, and you flip at least 2 white pips, you can't take more than 2 damage from this attack. So essentially that means if you have Omega in his bot mode and you trigger Jazz's effect while on defense, you can essentially have Jazz not take any damage and put 2 over on Omega, meaning that if you pulled that off every time Jazz was attacked, it would take 12 attacks for Omega to die. And you probably wouldn't do that. You'd probably keep some of it on Jazz, just to keep Omega alive. But the main goal of this deck is to essentially have Jazz be brave the whole time, so Omega can come in and swing really, really hard while taking out your opponent's characters in the process. So yeah, we're not even going to worry about Jazz's bot mode size, because to be perfectly honest, it kind of just sucks. So now let's get on to the actions. The first action we're playing is 3 copies of Escape Route. Flip one of your characters from bot mode to alt mode. This is literally just used so we can trigger off Omega's effect. It's got the green pip and the white pip, so it helps to trigger Jazz's effect and also let you get it straight up into your hand after the fact. So really good for that. And also 2 copies of System Reboot. We're going to be playing a whole bunch of white just so we can trigger Jazz's effect pretty much as consistently as we can. But System Reboot lets both players scrap their hand and draw 4 cards. It's a good way to disrupt your opponent if they're playing something like, I don't know, Aerial Bots, if they have a big hand, or if they're playing something like Bombshell, which no one plays, but you know, you can play System Reboot against that. Just don't play it against Shockwave. We also play 3 copies of Vaporize to get rid of your opponent's weapons, and anything that gives them Pierce so that Jazz's effect can constantly go through. Because if they have Pierce, Jazz's effect does not trigger, even if it's just Pierce 1. So like RC or Piercing Blast or even Drag Strip. It just doesn't work. Speaking of Pierce, we're playing 1 copy of Surprise Attack. We're only playing this just for honestly just the Pierce, but since this is more of a blue focused deck, you want to be dealing damage, so Surprise Attack is pretty good just for that. I also play a copy of Rollout to help flip, again, Omega into his alt mode, but that's pretty much it. We kind of need the orange pip so Omega can hopefully get the orange pip and deal some more damage, but that's pretty much it. And then we play 1 copy of Pep Talk to draw 2 cards. The draw support in this deck isn't exactly that great because I had to dedicate a whole bunch of spots just to the white pips. So we're only running 1 Pep Talk. Plus, if you really need cards, you could always flip Omega and just draw a card through his effect. We're also playing 1 copy of Bigger They Are and 1 Heavy Handed. This is in case you need to hit someone bigger than you with Jazz, smaller than you with Omega, or just bigger than Omega with a combiner or something like that. But I just think it's good to play at least 1 of each. We also play 3 copies of Leap into Battle. Give one of your characters +3 attack. You're probably only going to play this on Omega, but you definitely can play it on Jazz if he's like your only character left and you need to deal some extra damage. It's a blue pip, helps you defend a little bit better. And then the very last action we were playing is 1 copy of Swap Missions. This is just so that if you ever have to attack with Omega to get a KO and Jazz is still untapped, you can just tap Jazz, bring back Omega, and, you know, attack again with him. It's really awesome when you do get to play that, but it doesn't happen too often, so that's why we're only running one copy of that. Let's get on to the weapons. The first one we're playing is one copy of Energon Axe. Put on damage characters only, gives them Pierce 2 and +3 attack. Really fantastic. I would obviously play 3 copies of this, but I only have the one right now, so that's what we're playing with. We're also playing one copy of Piercing Blaster. Since you won't be dealing too much damage with Jazz, you might as well give him stuff like the Energon Axe or the Piercing Blaster, just so he can actually, deal something. Plus, it's a white pip, so you might as well. And we're playing 3 copies of Attack Drone, mainly just for the white pip, but you can definitely use them for their actual effect, which +1 attack. You can put 3 of them on one character. It's actually really hilarious when you're able to play all 3 at once, but it doesn't happen too often. But yeah, we're gonna play all 3 of those just because it's got the white pip. We also play one copy of Noble's Blaster, which you can only put on Autobots, and since we're running 2 Autobots, we might as well. It's a blue and green pip, and it gives Pierce 2 against Decepticons and +2 attack. Again, we really need that Pierce when on Jazz, so you might as well at least play 1 copy of it. And then the last weapon we're playing is 3 copies of Handheld Blaster, which is naturally just for the double blue pips. It gives you bold 1. I guess if you really wanted to put on Omega, you could hopefully flip an orange or something to that effect, but it's not exactly recommended. Again, it's probably just for the double blues. On to the armors. First set of armors we're playing is Force Field. We're only playing 2 of these because Jazz is mainly going to be the one soaking up all the damage, and he's not going to be taking more than 2, hopefully, most of the time. So it's kind of pointless to run a full set of Force Fields. So we're just playing 2 for whenever they get attacks off on Omega, so you can just slap a Force Field on, and he doesn't take too much damage. You also play 2 copies of Reinforced Plating. There's only 2 characters in this deck. You might as well just play 2, but it definitely is useful because we're also playing 1 copy of Sparring Gear. It lets you get it straight back into your hand with the green pip. That's why we're playing 1 of that and 2 Reinforced Plating. It's kind of nice, I guess. It's not exactly necessary. You could play 3 Reinforced Plating. This is just to kind of guarantee that you'll actually have some sort of armor throughout the game. And the last one we're playing is 1 copy of Evasive Maneuvers, just for the tough 3. I mean, it's not exactly the best card in the world, and there's not too much that you'll want to be defending with in this deck because Jazz will be soaking up most of it. But yeah, this is the couple of armors that we're running because, again, Jazz is your main tank in this kind of deck. And then for our last little bit of utilities, we played 2 copies of Matrix of Leadership. This is just in case you really want to get this on Jazz. Plus it's got the orange and blue pip. You might as well play it so you can get some more damage from Omegas. It's big swings. It gives +1 to Omega when you put it on Jazz, plus a Pierce 1. The Pierce 1 probably doesn't matter, but maybe the +1 could swing a game, possibly, maybe. Let me play 3 copies of Data Bank for the 3 whites. At the start of your turn, draw a card. This is, again, another way to draw cards since there's not too much already in this deck. This is mainly just to be played in place of things like Pep Talk or Inspiring Leadership, but you need those white pips, so you might as well play a white draw card. And then the last utility that we are running in this deck is 3 copies of Bravery. I opted to run 3 copies of Bravery is because you want to put them on Jazz as often as you can, because he's going to be the one that you want them to attack into. Plus, this is a blue pip. It helps with the defense of the deck. But you want them to attack into Jazz. I cannot stress that you do not want them to attack Omega, because he's got 1 defense in bot mode, which I very much disagree with. But he does have one armor. And Bravery is kind of just a way to make sure that Omega stays safe, and Jazz is the one soaking up all 2 damage from every attack if you can pull that off. And I know I should probably run more whites in the deck. I think I counted like 12 or 14, I don't quite remember, but there's some amount of whites in this deck. And I think I should probably run more just so Jazz's effect will trigger more often. Maybe some more draw support like Pep Talks just so I can hit those Braveries more often, and maybe run treasure hunts or something to that effect. But yeah, I do enjoy this deck. It's a lot of fun to play even if it is pretty bad. But this is just my take on Omega. I've been wanting to build something with this card for a very long time, and Omega is my favorite Transformer of all time. So I just absolutely love playing that, and hopefully something will come out in the future that'll make him good. I don't know, hopefully. Maybe with that new spaceship support card in Wave 3, he might be better. I think it's a white pip, so that helps with Jazz. I don't know, maybe. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, you go to whack that like and subscribe button. And of course, have a phenomenal day. Peace.